What's up, guys? Big Clive 34 coming at you from the cockpit of a 2014 Challenger SRT with the 392, the big 6.4 liter V8 with almost 500 horsepower under the hood. If you guys didn't catch it, I recently did a review of this car, and actually it's pleasantly surprised me. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love this thing, but there are a couple of things that have got to go. So today, I'm going to tell you about 5 things that I hated about this particular Challenger that I think should pretty much apply to every car that falls within this same generation period. The first thing that I have to talk about that a lot of cars do, I mean, there's not really too many options as to fix this, but the shifter position in relation to the cup holders is absolutely terrible. This isn't going to be a main point, but the cup holders that you cannot comfortably fit 2 large beverages in are a problem to begin with. But when you consider the fact that they are directly behind the shifter, makes it a hard time to operate. Number 2, this interior is absolutely gorgeous. If there's one company that screwed up being able to make a nice interior back in the 90s and early 2000s, it would be Dodge. They just always seem to be lagging behind. But it seems like in the early 2000s, they really started to come around, probably the late first decade of the 2000s, and started making very nice interiors. It's like a night and day difference. I know a lot of car companies kind of made that jump, but these interiors are actually pretty incredible. However, there are random things here and there that they throw in that just seem to be so cheap, and it like distracts you from all of the upside of this interior, and you have these weird and funky vents up here that distract you from it, and this crappy material, the door things. This isn't a major thing, but it just distracts you from how great the interior is overall. I have to say that it's a pretty solid car, and I do understand that these cars aren't the most expensive in the world, so they can't exactly put every high dollar material known to man in them, but some of this stuff is just like, it looks like not very much effort was put into thinking about how can we make that not distracting from the overall aesthetic of the interior. Number 3, this car has the worst blind spots known to mankind. I've never driven a newer generation Camaro. I know that they also have them, so I guess I would have to drive one of those before I say known to mankind, but regardless of the Camaro, this car's blind spots are pretty bad. I can't see anything back there. Well, why am I saying that? You know what blind spots are. When you try and back up, the rear window is tiny and basically useless. However, it does have some redeeming qualities in the fact that there is a backup camera and there are blind spot detectors, which are pretty awesome and make the car very, very usable despite its crappy blind spot design. Number 4, this might just be an issue because I've only been driving it for a weekend and haven't had a ton of time to dump into it, but I feel like something like the radio is so straightforward that you shouldn't have to think about it. You shouldn't have to have time to dump into it. Now, the Bluetooth worked flawlessly. I hooked it up in seconds, which was great, but as I'm always on the road, always going, always have something that I have to be doing on my phone for work, I use it a lot. The battery dies. I wanted to plug it in. I go to plug it in, I want to have it charging so I'm ready to use it, and I also want to use the radio, but as it happens to be, I think that you need to download an app on your phone to plug it in, which doesn't really make sense because the radio works with Bluetooth, but when you plug your phone in, I think you need to add something extra to it, which is kind of funky, not a huge downfall. Something could have just malfunctioned. I could be doing something wrong, but I feel like plugging your phone in, especially in this day and age, should just be a relatively straightforward thing. You plug it in, music comes up, should be easy to use just like that. If you buy the car, you're probably going to get the app anyway, and it's not really that much of a workaround, but you know, it is what it is. And 5th, this is just a personal preference thing, but as I drive around, I see a lot of these things on the road. One of the things about Corvettes that I didn't like was that everybody and their mother started to get one. And now if you're a person who doesn't really care about that, because I know most people don't, and I'm just a weirdo, then more power to you. It could even be a positive because there's more of a community for you to talk to, fall back on, you know, get advice from. But for me, I kind of want to have something that's a little bit more different and unique. And with how many of these things I've seen just in this short weekend, it's like, you know, you're spending all this money trying to get a nice car. You want to stand out a little bit, you know? Then again, the car did get some looks as I've been driving it. Not a ton. I expected it to get a lot of looks and be a real head turner, you know, bright red sports car, black stripes, all American, but you know, it's kind of like these things almost blend in a little bit just because of how many of them there are. I wonder how that experience would be if you had like a Hellcat or a Demon and people would really pick up on it. Anyways, guys, it is now starting to rain, so I'm going to cut this video off. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think of these 5 things down in the comments below. I appreciate you liking and subscribing. This has been Big Clive 34 with 5 quick facts, or opinions, I guess, about the Challenger that really could be a little bit different.